I'd like to talk to you about John Alegro and the Dead Sea Scrolls. John Alegro was one of the greatest theologian. He was like into words, the meaning of words. Ancient languages was his thing. Born on February the something. And he died on the very same day that he was born. John Alegro was asked by the Pope and the Church, because he was so clever, he was asked to decipher parts of the Dead Sea Scrolls, along with a team of 9, and he was the only atheist on the team. He wasn't a Christian necessarily. He discovered the Copper Scroll, whereas the other people were just given little pieces of the Dead Sea Scroll. Alegro got lucky because he discovered the Copper Scroll, was able to look at the lot. What he discovered from the Copper Scroll was that the Jewish religion initially was like a pagan religion. It was all about nature, like where we are now. It was based upon nature, sex, the penis, the magic mushroom. All these amazing things were at the start pre-Jewish, and they understood allegory. They understood that if they wrote something or an image of something could have a hidden meaning. So it wasn't just that one basic thing, oh look, there's a tree. The tree had a meaning, a spiritual meaning, an understanding. And that's then later on, you get your Jews, right? And then later on, your Jews went all orthodox. And their religion was then kind of hidden in a lot of allegory. Like Joshua was the head of a Jewish sect. He was a spiritual leader. But that's just the allegorical story. The truth behind Joshua was that it wasn't a he, it was a magic mushroom. And that's why Joshua was one of the first to be crucified, because he wasn't crucified because he wasn't a man. It was a magic mushroom in the shape of a cross, the crucifixion. John Alegro sussed all this out, he worked it out. And then he tried to write a book about his findings. He tried to write many books. He wrote many books about his findings. His life works was about his findings. And he was discredited and shunned and just generally pushed away. The church didn't want his findings to come out. They didn't believe what he was saying could be true. So this great theologian was asked to decipher the Dead Sea Scrolls. And then when he did decipher the Dead Sea Scrolls, they said this great theologian was wrong. He'd got it wrong. Well, why did they ask him in the first place to decipher the Dead Sea Scrolls if they didn't want to accept that what he deciphered was actually the truth? They wanted to say he was lying, he was a gold digger, he just wanted to make money out of this crazy thing that he'd created and said he'd got from the Dead Sea Scrolls. I mean, come on. He died just after writing his last book, The Christian Myth. Yeah, The Christian Myth. So the church didn't like what he had to say because it made their Bible and everything in it allegorical. It meant that, it was like the beginning of time. Sex, drugs and rock and roll was like what it was all about. And these days it's completely corrupted and twisted and misunderstood and misread, misinterpreted, and it's, the cause of many wars. Religions, Jewish, Christian. The Muslim religion didn't even come till 500 years after the Bible was actually written. And the Bible, well, everyone says that's the be-all and end-all, don't they? But the Bible was actually taken from the writings of the Dead Sea Scrolls. So the Dead Sea Scrolls came first. So all I'm saying is, your Jewish religion and your Christian religion are basically the same, and what they're hiding allegorically is the truth about the magic mushroom and the beginnings of nature and the people that worship nature. I mean, the mycelium itself, which is like the roots of the magic mushroom, and not just the magic mushroom but all mushrooms, all fungus, the mycelium itself must have covered the earth when it was just molten rock, and then through that it created earth, the dirt, the earth, the soil that created the trees and the plants, and the mushrooms were there to actually eat that was like their food. If you look at Chernobyl, that's covered in radiation and stuff, but apparently there's a green fungi that is now eating its way through the radiation, and there's something to do with its DNA is very close to the DNA of human skin. So life is much more than just black and white. What are we saying really? Reading between the lines. Because if you can read between the lines, then you can understand the allegorical code that the Bible was written in, the Dead Sea Scrolls were written in, and probably the whole allegorical theme comes from way back when they first had their mushroom trips. Because how do you see when you see mushrooms? You see very allegorically. Things change in front of your very eyes. Meanings. There are greater meanings behind wings, for instance. The meaning of wings in paintings often suggested magic mushrooms. So therefore angels had wings, and it's all connected. It's almost impossible to explain to you in one little mini video the importance and the greatness of what John Alegro discovered when he found them copper scrolls in the Dead Sea Scrolls situation, because it covers so many different things. You're talking about the beginnings of religion, you're talking about the beginnings of the earth, you're talking about the missing link, what they don't want to discuss. Could we have come from mycelium? Were we bacteria in the pockets of water pools and moisture? Everything in life is connected. But the magic mushroom is something that in the beginning they were saying, partake of this and you shall enter the kingdom of heaven. That's what they were saying, partake of the magic mushroom, the flesh of Christ. So how can the church poo-poo Allegro's findings, really? Don't you think that they should look into it a hell of a lot more? He was obviously a lot more than a gold digger. He was not a gold digger. He lived his life, he died. He done us a great service by informing us of a hidden history that relates to Christianity, that relates to the Jews and the Jewish religion. This is highly important stuff. You can't just take someone, pluck them and say, you're the best, I want you to work on this, and then when they work on it and discover something you don't like, say, oh no, it's a load of old bollocks, it's rubbish, this ain't true, you're making this up. You couldn't make up what he discovered in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So there you go, John Alegro. Look into him, check it out for yourselves, because you could be missing out on the most important discovery of the 20th century. This is a temple. It's the woods. It is a magical temple, full of life, death. It's an ecosystem all on its own. And so are you. Your body is like the woods. You need to learn what's going on with it, like you need to learn what's going on in the woods. What can help you? That's why sex was of great importance, because it was the creation, wasn't it? Reproduction. It is the point of life, is to reproduce. Of course it is. You know, that's it. I mean, obviously, we all play a part in helping our world exist and grow bigger and more. We are very much like a cancer on the planet, because growth, it's like we live for growth. Growth of the human race, growth of what the human race can produce, growth of the woods, and all that comes from reproduction, doesn't it? You know, the woods reproduces in the way it reproduces, and we humans reproduce in the way we reproduce. And that's why God was seen as a penis, because sex and reproduction was the ultimate. These days, if you think there's something more to life than that, you're just being horribly distracted. What you're seeing is what you're getting, and more, because there's more. More to it, if you want to see it.